Judging from the omen, it's at the northwest, the beginning and the ending of the ring, where the wall reflects repeatedly. The northwest of SPDM. This one is straightforward. The beginning and the ending of the ring is not a problem either. The icon of the computing center is exactly the Ouroboros, a serpent eating its own tail. Here we are. But where the wall reflects repeatedly, does that mean a closed room with mirrors? The mirror in the display center is a huge kinescope in the wall. And the one in the airtight laboratory is a crystal clear observation window. The one in the rehab center? No. The mirrors in the operation room have been replaced with curved electronic screens of steel structure after that xenopilot made a scene. So, where is the answer? Hey! You just hit me! Shouldn't you apologize?
Where did you come from, dork? Wasting my time.
What? How could he say that? That's rude!
That gentleman doesn't look well. He's covering his face. His nose is running with purple liquid. Oh dear. Did he drink a whole bottle of purple Chrysandra juice? He needs treatment immediately. Oh, if only I had brought the Phoenix heart nerves with me.
He ran towards the rehab center. Nothing to worry about. Just another patient trying to prove he has recovered. The rehab center has all the facilities and medicines he needs. He will be properly treated. But why is he wearing the uniform of Laplace? And where's the receptionist here?
Does everyone go to the weekend party night?
Absolutely not. The researchers here are too busy to do that. The computing center is working on the most urgent and vital project, the research on the immunity to the storm. We should not disturb them unless it's an emergency. So please stop calling the office and put down the telephone, Miss Sotheby. This is not the ear of a tea kettler, and it won't take you to any twist balls. Je sais qu'elle est débutante, mais quand même elle est trop bizarre. Guide new members with caution and patience. Trigger the afflatus at the right time. J'avoue que Verten a remporté une victoire temporaire sur ça.
Miss Boonish, I just read the map on the counter. You mentioned where the wall reflects repeatedly. Does the vision refer to the racquetball center here? You see, its icon is a bouncing ball.
Let me take a look. Found it! This is really the right direction. Next, Empty boxes, glasswares, and copper pieces. Looks like our destination has piles of metal. Good job, Assistant Sotheby. I have to say, I might have gone a bit too hard on you. You are more capable than I thought. Thanks to your prompt reminder, we have saved quite some time.
Sotheby is glad to help. Miss Boonish, since you're such a talented diviner, why don't you just divine the reason for the storm with your inherited arcanum ability? According to Ms. Moisson, the reason still remains a mystery. If the crystal orb can reveal its truth, everything will be much easier for Vertin and her team.
Divine the reason for the storm? That's impossible for sure. It's a typical mistake of laymen to believe one can see everything through divination. You are an expert on potions and arcane creatures, but you have little knowledge on other subjects. Haven't you received any systematic education on arcanum?
Education on arcanum? I'm of course well educated in arcanum, with Ms. Moisson as my tutor, and my arcane friends such as Typhon from the Auto Island, Jupiter, and...
All right, enough. I have understood the fact that the education you have received is not systematical, or say incomplete, imperfect, inelegant. But don't worry, because you are talking to the kind-hearted Matilda. She will spend her valuable time to make it up for you. In fact, the system of arcanum knowledge is not completely separated from that of human science. For example, the modern pharmacy and chemistry actually originated from the experiments of potions and alchemy in the ancient times. They developed into two different systems because arcanists focused more on the knowledge ignored by scientists, which is gnosis. The knowledge we learn from divination is exactly under this category.
Wow!
Let me fill you in with more details. If two human researchers test Snell's law at two different places at the same time without making any mistakes, they will always reach the same conclusion. Or if two potionists use the same ingredients and follow the same formula to make the cough cough stop stop potion separately, their products will also have similar effects. However, if two diviners respectively perform divination on the same thing, they will probably see totally different visions. Because what the divination shows is merely omens. The interpretation of these omens is in fact a kind of subjective deduction based on the reality, and there is no such thing as a standard answer. Even if the two diviners draw the same conclusion, it is more of a coincidence than a result that implies generalizability. So diviners never check the accuracy of their divination through the review of peers. And this is an example of gnosis. Unlike human sense, it is unique and possesses no universality. In other words, even if someone finds out a reason for the storm through divination, they can't have other diviners verify it. because 100 different diviners will give out 100 different conclusions. The scene will be even busier than a concert at Musikverein. That being said, the more possible result we get from the divination is nothing. Divination cannot bring knowledge which the diviners have never learned. The divination of such world-class knowledge, as complicated as the reason for the storm, can only be performed by world-class diviners. We may find one or two diviners like that if time continues to be reversed. Like Nostradamus. But he lived in the 16th century. Besides, if Nostradamus is not always right...
But Miss Buaniche is! Thanks to your divination, we're getting closer and closer to that report, right?
You are right! Finding items, interpreting dreams, and making simple prophecies. All these things are just a breeze for the bright and clever Matilda. But inquiring about the storm is beyond my ability, and it will only bring misfortune. I will never make such a stupid mistake. In fact, this half of the report and the handwriting of the author are perfect divination media. Besides, our target is not far away from us, and I'm familiar with the surroundings, which have made things much easier than usual. It is true diviners can improve the accuracy and controllability of their gnosis by practicing repeatedly, holding the rituals properly, and making targeted preparations. But that still doesn't mean the result will be absolutely accurate.
The report says that person who mentioned the School of Numbers claimed she was enlightened about the year of the next storm. Is that also by divination?
I am not sure what kind of arcane skills they used, but numbers are indeed a kind of omen too. I am not talking about the specific knowledge of mathematics, but the numbers themselves, because they are even more abstract than images and languages as kind of symbol. Even so, there is no way for us to verify this prophet, unless it really comes true. That is also why it takes almost nothing to spread a prophecy. My mother told me many people in the outside world write to the Foundation every day, claiming to be prophets who can predict the doomsday and thus requesting unemployment benefits.
The doomsday? Unemployment benefits? Oh my! The outside world is far more wonderful than I thought. How fascinating! This Buaniche is even greater than I expected.
You bet! Wait, did you mean I was not the greatest? Here we are, Miss Sotheby. Now, this is the moment to verify the result of my divination. Where are we? Lost and found at the racquetball center? The orb showed copper pieces. We need to find something that seems to be locked, but is actually not. Aha! Found it! Nothing can stop the genius, Matilda.
The trip to Egypt didn't go smoothly. The ship was hit by a common storm at sea. We were lost in the fog after that, completely off course. And something emerged from the water. Since the first storm, the Foundation has received frequent sightings of arcane creatures which should have been extinct in history. I had no idea what I was shooting at, even after I emptied the clip. And I didn't know what to do, so the arcanists brought us back on course. She named the precise longitude and latitude of our location, even without using the sextant in the spare cabin. I wonder how she did that. Perhaps the world did look different in her eyes. Then when I was about to step on a random plank on the ship, she suddenly dragged me back. I thought it was only an inappropriate joke. The next second, the plank broke. I was stunned, and asked her how she saw that coming. She just answered me as if we were talking about the weather.
Because that plank is deformed like a rhombus.
I was confused. Where is the rhombus? She laughed.
The rhombus can't be seen with eyes. You shall close your eyes, hearken to the teaching of the Supreme Existence, and seize the moment of afflatus.
Of course, I didn't see anything. Nor did I understand what the moment of afflatus was. Perhaps it's just another privilege enjoyed by arcanists, just like their right to be lunatic. Nevertheless, she reached the correct conclusion in a completely wrong way. Is it really possible? Anyway, she saved my life. But that was not enough to settle the differences between us. She remained rejective to working with the Foundation, and I finally gave up on the attempt to persuade them. My mission on that trip was not to make contact with them. Besides, what we needed was builders of the storm observation system, not some liars who would only make things worse. As for the shelter they took from the storm, she wouldn't say a word, as if she were dealing with a spy who pried to find out the deepest secrets of the Arcanists. In the end, Hugh mediated between us. He gave me an address in Istanbul to which I could send the letters to contact them. After that, I spent more than half a year in the Egypt office. Things were even worse there than I expected. Some have gone missing after the storm. The people who were supposed to be in the Egypt office, according to the member list stored in the headquarters in 1985, were not there when I arrived. The situation could be caused by the limitations of the transmission of paper-based materials, or because the computer was not yet popularized to every corner of the globe at the time. One minor mistake of a copyist could develop into a huge difference. Besides that, the chaos inside Laplace was an even worse issue. I learned that someone published the paper Samplings of Global and Regional Chaotic Energy Route Changes in the name of Butterfly of Lorentz. Apparently they secretly used our sampling sites, yet their research direction and conclusion were radically different from Laplace's. The researchers equally divided into two schools. One sticking to the human technology they have focused on, and one changing their direction to Arcanum. At the time, it was still too early to decide which direction was right, without sufficient experimental data. But many already believed that if time continued to be reversed, human technology would only keep falling into decline, while Arcanum, which relies on personal ability, would rise again. It's true that Gnosis cannot be copied, verified by an independent third party. or comprehended through reasoning. Its nature decides that it cannot lay the foundation of science or be popularized to every ordinary person. It takes solid marble to build a castle, not slippery sand. Even so, what harm will it do to rely on arcanum when the underlying logic of all things has become unreasonable? Before the disagreement was settled, the storm in 1987 was predicted. We were ordered to return to the headquarters 24 hours before its arrival. But the prediction was not accomplished by Laplace. A captive from Manus Vindictae names the precise date of that storm. Our enemies, those lunatic xenophobes, valuing only pure blood, made it further than we did. Yes, we built observation stations, we made countless deductions, we developed multiple simulation models. We made efforts, we sacrificed life, we did whatever we could. Yet the result was that we didn't find any other regions immune to the storm, except the headquarters and another one in North America. In the end, 95% of the branch members were reversed. 87.9% of the equipment was destroyed, and 100% of our predictions failed. In conclusion, our endeavor brought no achievements. As for the captive from Manus Vindictae, the delirium patient who claims that oracles flowed under his parietal bone, when we asked him how he learns the precise date of the storm, he burst into laughter.
Can't you hear it? Has God left you behind when he spread his grace?
Then, he smashed his own skull with a handcuff. Yes, there was no doubt. He was an incurable lunatic. But his insane nonsense was exactly the reason we survived the storm again. No matter how unreasonable or illogical it was, or how much a lie it sounded like. So we'd better believe we shouldn't go out in black today because the fish is swimming in the water. We'd better believe in the existence of the non-physical, everlasting, transcendent world where everyone's soul is a number. We'd better believe in the supreme existence which caused the disorder of time by merely casting its shadow. That means the life of individuals means nothing more than rubbish, and the world is but an imperfect ruin, where only the chosen ones will pass the trial, where the rest will be eliminated by the rain. How am I supposed to do that? Finally, I made up my mind to write to her. I didn't expect her to answer my questions. All I wanted was to confirm if she had survived that storm. For the sake of our peaceful talk about the rhombus. Yet what I heard from them was a simple announcement of her death, with only 2 words. She died. Then it burned and turned to ashes in a second. On the same day, the first and only timekeeper who just took office, the 12-year-old child, returned alone from the storm. She told us the time in the outside world at that point. And that was how I knew she was right.
It is right in front of you.
What? If there is a God, why are you playing such a prank on us after we had suffered from the collapse of all the existing orders and the failure of all the great laws? If this is what she calls a glimpse of the supreme existence, the moment of afflatus, do you have to present it in such a cruel way? The last 2 digits in the number of the year after that storm were exactly her name and her number. 77.
Incroyable! Incroyable! C'est vrai! Quelqu'un a vraiment fait cette prophétie! Pertinence on it will be thrilled to
as well as a formal investigator. We need to submit this report to your instructor immediately.
What are you doing in other people's rooms? This is my personal item. You have no rights to take it. Please leave immediately.
Personal item? This is a precious record that should have been submitted to the Foundation. According to Administration and Regulations for Dispatch Personnel, St. Pavlov Foundation Decree number 259, every member of the Foundation, when acting as a field investigator, is required to create a comprehensive investigation report of all their actions and promptly submit it.
And they are obliged to ensure the authenticity, objectivity, and impartiality of the report. No personal bias is allowed in the content. If you have read this report, miss, you should know that it's not even qualified to be filed.
But this is an emergency!
I can tell from your uniform, you are a student of SPDM, or... This is Laplace. Do you have your guardian's approval to leave the school, Miss Underage Student?
Approval? I don't need that. I am not a student. You are talking to the exceptionally promoted monitor assistant of SPDM. Here is my ID. Did you just ignore a formal administrator of the Foundation? This monitor assistant will report every misbehavior of yours. Every little bit of them.
Miss Moisson, we found that report here. The great Miss Buanish and I discovered some important information. I came to you and Madame Z immediately after we read it. Miss Buanish, why are you confronting Mr. Chair?
I didn't expect to see the second half of that report here in your room, Adler.
Don't call me that, friend. Why not just call me Enigma? Just like everyone else. Relax. I know nicknames mean no harm. But I don't understand. How is a report filled with meaningless words of any concern to you, Madam Z?
It provides information about the Arcanist group Virgin is now dealing with. If possible, please give it to me.
Of course. How can I turn down a request from Constantine's chief of staff? Take it away. I hope you don't mind the mold on it.
Attention to your manners and do not bring disgrace to the computing center, Mr. Rude.
Ms. Buanish, Ms. Sotheby, you've done a great job. I'm sure what you have found would be of great help to Timekeeper. And I will report your active performance in this mission to SPDM as soon as possible, Miss Boanish. We need to further analyze the files you found. The first on the scene could provide more detailed information. Let's get out of here.
Contribution exceptionnelle! Oh là là, exceptionnel! Non, non! Calme-toi, Mathilda. I didn't accomplish it alone. Assistant Sotheby also played a significant role. Hooray! That is to say, Miss Burnish, we can start preparing the balloons and flowers for the twist ball. Speaking of which, this monitor assistant still needs to think about it. By the way, just call me Mathilda.
There will be no advance in human technology. You think so? Even thee, Madam Z, has given up on the study of theoretical physics and become a politician.
No. I've never thought of that.
I am astonished by the fact that you are interacting with others.
They broke in.
If it was a complaint that you were making, you know it is within your rights to submit an interdepartmental complaint within 7 days after the incident.
Don't bother. That file means nothing to me. I didn't file it because it is a report against the rules. Why bother to submit such a log full of personal feelings and emotional behaviors to our great, rigorous foundation?
Is that so? I am gratified to find that you still have some sense.
I too am gratified that you still have no idea that I was being sarcastic.
Oh, that was sarcasm.
Never mind. What do you want from me, Madam Lucy? You went all the way to this dusty, rundown place so hurriedly that you even forgot to put on that pathetic mask. This is not because of some old files, I assume.
Certainly. I hope you can be the cryptographer of the Manus Vindictae's ritual. You are still the best.
You are asking me, a human, to decode the ritual of a pureblood arcanist group? I don't see how I'll be helpful to this project.
You cannot evaluate your own level of being of value, Adler.
Well, you evaluate our value. Test us in experiments you set. Prove the hypotheses by exhaustion, make mistakes, and start all over again. You repeat the process like a roaring locomotive that pulls the research center out of this chaotic disaster. You question not what is ahead of you, nor whether the path you've taken will be regular or easy. The only idea you planted into your little brain is to move forward, to improve.
Thank you for your compliment. Credit goes to everyone.
That was not even a... Miss Mirka. Guess you agree, a life without creativity is not worth living. And that's the life that I wake up to every day. I'm no longer the person you thought you came here for. I'll never be able to combine human technology and Arcanum. And I'll never comprehend even the slightest part of it. I am useless to you. I don't expect someone made of tin to understand the human mind. But I beg of you, leave me alone.
The work of analyzing the masks of Manus Vindictae did not go well. A side effect occurs in the researchers, and it is getting worse. The isolation wards on the basement level are overwhelmed.
What a scene. Have you aborted the experiment?
Not yet. We have conducted the Arcanum imaging experiment on the masks, and found a component which also exists in the raindrops of the storm. But knowing what it is composed of does not help explain how it works. What we're looking for is the original ritual that the Manus cast on them.
You're trying to figure out one's career planning from one's physical examination report. I wonder why it is not working. Even if somehow you manage to find the original ritual, you still need a proper environment to test it, which is the outside world with a coming storm. That's why we can't tell if we're getting results. Even if we had the right ritual, proper permission from the Foundation to travel, and strong-minded volunteer subjects. Experiments performed in the Ivory Tower won't succeed because...
An experiment about the storm can only be done in a storm. Glad to see your brain is not rusty yet. It only took you 3 sentences to draw the conclusion which took the seminar a week to reach. That proves you are capable of the project. The history maintenance team has forecast different critical points of this storm. Foundation investigators are on their way. If Manus Vindictae still plans to accelerate the storm, like what they have done in 1929, there will be a high possibility that their people will show up at the transformation point of history and society, also known as the critical point of time, the center of the storm. Your sister, Greta Hoffman, is also one of the investigators.
I have no interest in any Hoffmans other than myself. We have different perspectives.
It is okay. I am just here to inform you that if any of the investigators successfully send the information of the ritual back, the research about the immunity of the storm will be conducted immediately. Take your time and be mentally prepared. But once the storm alert is issued, we only have 24 hours to verify the feasibility of the ritual. I wish you will be fully prepared by then.
One thing is for sure now. The age of humans has come to an end.